Good evening, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the PSN Party Podcast. I am your host, BMG, and I'm joined by my co-host, Sentinel. Sentinel, how are you this evening?
Pretty good, BMG. Glad to have everyone here, obviously, and we have a guest on our show this week as well. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, we do. And good evening, Sarah from Twitch.tv, Sarah's Crazy World. How are you this evening, even?
I am very well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on, so thank you very much.
No, brilliant. It's brilliant to have you. If, like, say, people that don't know you or haven't seen the content, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. Obviously, my name is Sarah. I am Sarah's Crazy World on Twitch. I am a part-time variety streamer, so I stream everything and anything at the moment, and I am crazy at doing it, guys. Just have a laugh, have fun, building a great community. That's all it's about. And I just want everyone to be themselves when they're there and causing chaos in my stream. All my sound alerts are free. So just causing chaos. And yes, there's a community challenge going on at the moment, guys, to get me to dress up as Sailor Moon. So yeah, come in and join. Just come and cause some craziness.
Brilliant. No, it's great to have you on tonight. It says you should have been here last week, but you was under the weather. You weren't so good. So I'm glad to see you are feeling a lot better now. So that's brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Hello, ZFG Gaming. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's brilliant to see you. So tonight's topics include God of War, Best in the Series, Game of the Year nominees, Transformer Rise has been leaked. But before we get into any of all that, just a little bit of housekeeping. We are on our march to 1,000 subscribers. And when we hit that 1,000 subscribers, there is going to be a big giveaway of games. We're sort of in the plans of how we're going to do it and what we're going to do. But one of the biggest things I want to announce tonight that is, once we hit that 1,000 subscribers, one of the games that we are going to be giving away is God of War Ragnarok to celebrate the release. So if you want to be in a chance to win that, as well as a ton of other games, like, share, subscribe. If you like what we do, check out the content. Any comments, any suggestions, drop them in on the XBL Party Podcast website, drop them on Twitter, drop them on YouTube. But yeah, that's the announcement that we sort of teased today. It's God of War Ragnarok. Someone's going to get a copy of that when we get to 1,000 subscribers. So hopefully we can get there soon, and one of you awesome people will get that game. But let's say, before we get into the topics as well, what's everybody been playing tonight? Sarah, you are our guest, so we'll come to you first. What have you been playing?
I haven't been playing anything tonight, but the last time I played, which was a couple of days ago, I've actually been playing Skyrim, which is the first time I've ever played it. So,
really?
Friend suggested it to me. Has been bugging me for weeks to play it, so I was like, yes, I'm going to play it. So I played it on Monday, I think it was, and absolutely enjoyed it. Absolutely.
Oh, you're in for a very long treat. The things at every other turn. And which edition have you gone with? The new edition?
The special edition one that I got off Xbox Game Pass. So yeah, absolutely looking forward
brilliant!
To it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of new stuff in there as well. So, it's been on literally every console, on your watch, on your fridge, on your Alexa. She heard me. But awesome. Sentinel, sir, what have you been playing this week?
I know it's kind of blasphemy on a PlayStation podcast, but I have got back into Halo Infinite. I know they released some new content, and I took some time away. Halo Infinite obviously was in a rough shape for a while. But, I got back into it. And part of that, of course, is because of Modern Warfare 2's release and just how lackluster the multiplayer section is right now. So it kind of forced me back to Halo Infinite.
Yeah. Have you tried out the co-op campaign side of stuff yet?
Of Halo Infinite?
Yeah.
Yes, I beat it. I have almost all the collectibles. I just have to go back in and clean up some of them. So, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. I know we're on a PlayStation Party podcast. I know it's like I wish that PlayStation would bring back Killzone because I think done right, it could be on the scale of Halo Infinite. I really do.
Awesome. What have I been playing? Oh, God of War Ragnarok. yes. But picked it up on release, and it just seems to be it's a game that's grabbed me. I'm just hooked on it. I try and get on it any chance I can. I literally just before we started setting up for the show, I'm just trying to get in a quick half an hour because I've had some real life busy work stuff to do, so I've got all that out of the way for half an hour before we go live. Good evening, Muppet. Thank you for joining us. I'm not going to read out that comment, but thank you. But yeah, no, it's great. I'm glad we're all playing some games. We've all been having a bit of fun. Real world stuff gets boring after a while, so it's nice to escape somewhere and just enjoy what we do. Right, let's get into some topics, I think. So what's the first on the list? God of War has made a blockbuster start in the UK, becoming the fastest selling entry in the series to date. This is by Tom Ivan over at Video Games Chronicle. The PS4 and PS5 game became the 13th God of War title to be released in the UK when it arrived on last Wednesday, because obviously not today, because it's been out a week now. According to data from charts firm JFK, which was provided by gamesindustry.biz, its day one physical sales were greater than the full week launch sales of every previous series entry. Prior to God of War release, its predecessor, God of War 2018, was the fastest selling series to date of the God of War. Obviously, Ragnarok's beat that because it's definitely better, trust me. It's become the best seller of all time in terms of week one sales and also lifetime sales for the franchise, says JFK boss Doreen Bloch. I do apologize if I pronounce your name wrong because I'm useless at pronouncing names. In 2018, God of War ranked at number 5 by units and revenue on Sony formats. Reporting its quarterly earnings this month, Sony said the series reboot was one of the biggest titles ever released exclusively for PlayStation, with 23 million sales, and that's expected similar performance from Ragnarok. JFK said 55% of UK PS5 console sales this week are part of a God of War Ragnarok bundle, because I think they actually made it a bundle for release day, so a lot of people have got the PS5 and got that included. So it's nice to see that number quite high. VGC's God of War Ragnarok review is labeled it one of its best games ever on the PlayStation. So what do we think to how well God of War's actually done? Sentinel, come to you first, my friend.
I think God of War Ragnarok's success makes a lot of sense because I know everyone loves The Last of Us, but I'm sorry, God of War is the PlayStation IP. Everybody sees Kratos and they know who he is. You like him, you hate him, whatever. Kratos is PlayStation. Whereas there are actually a lot of people, especially considering The Last of Us Part 2's abysmal sales numbers compared to the God of War franchise, that know Kratos much more than they're going to know any other character from PlayStation, especially in recent years. So God of War Ragnarok, with all the hype and all the advertising that it's had behind it, it's no big surprise that it's doing such crazy numbers. And it was a tremendously smart move by PlayStation, and probably Jim Ryan is, the one that came up with this idea, to bundle God of War Ragnarok with PlayStation 5s, especially since there's still a lot of people that are looking for PlayStation 5s, myself included. And of course, I'm a big God of War fan. So if I had the choice between just getting a regular PlayStation 5 or one bundled with God of War Ragnarok, it's a no-brainer. I'd automatically pick it up rather than just getting the normal one and saying, I'll just wait for a sale for God of War Ragnarok. Because it's like God of War Ragnarok isn't one of those games that you wait for a sale. If you see it for full price, you're going to buy it for full price.
Yeah, definitely. It's literally, as far as I see, it's Game of the Year. It's in the Game of the Year awards, which we'll come to a bit later on in the show. But I personally would say God of War Ragnarok is the best PlayStation game made to date. I don't think anything else touches it. It's just the in-depth in the characters, the things that they've done with the game. Don't get me wrong, there are a few little bugs here and there, as any game has, but the review scores, I think, is fair. 94 is absolutely amazing Metacritic, Open Critic score. and it's well deserved. And it's no surprise to see it shooting up and selling a shed load of games. Sarah, what about yourself? What do you think? Do you think it's deserved of how much it's sold? Do you think is it something you're going to play?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. I mean, look, I've only played the first one. I haven't played the second one yet. I am due. I will play it eventually. At the moment, it's not kind of on my high of doing it at the moment because I'm one of these people that don't play a game that's quite popular at the time because I like to stream it, do it myself, but I do tend to jump into games and what I've seen of it so far has lived up to the expectations of what I thought it would be. You know, I only recently finished the last one, absolutely enjoyed it, and I was so hyped to get to hear they were doing the next one because I just really wanted to know how they were gonna take it that next step level. And what I have seen of it, they've done so brilliantly in it, and I can see why so many people love it and just enjoy it, and I can see why the sales are just up there. I can see why PlayStation have brought out a bundle deal. You know, that is probably the best way of getting it because obviously PlayStation 5 is obviously still very popular at the moment. It's still very hard to get at the same time, you know, and to bring it out with a PlayStation, you're like, yes, you've got to get that bundle. That's probably the best way to get it right now. Yes, do it, you know. And yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to playing it myself, definitely. I can't wait to play it myself.
Awesome. Did you, this goes obviously to both of you, did you play the original series before the reboot in 2018?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
No? Sentinel?
Yeah, I played I played the God of War series extensively. And the surprising thing is when the PlayStation 2 came out, I didn't even actually play the God of War franchise because it was new and it just wasn't something I was into during the PlayStation 2 generation. I actually played my first God of War game on the PlayStation 3 when they came out with the God of War Saga collection. You know, my wife saw it at Target and picked it up for me, thought I would enjoy it. And as soon as I played the first God of War game on my PS3, I was like, oh man, I definitely should have picked this up on PS2. It's fantastic. I love the original God of War games. I actually prefer the ancient Greece setting over the Norse mythology setting. But that's just me personally. You know, I think the only I didn't finish the PSP games. They got a PlayStation 3 port, and I have the disc in my PlayStation 3 right now for Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta. I also didn't finish God of War Ascension. I know a lot of people consider God of War Ascension as kind of the blemish on the God of War franchise. I can't really say one way or the other because I haven't finished it. But like I said, you know, I've played a lot of the God of War games. I play them repeatedly every single time I'm playing my PS3. The original God of War trilogy is kind of one of my go-tos, along with Infamous, of course. But Infamous is dead and buried at this point. So God of War it is when I'm on my PlayStation 3. As far as God of War 2018, I did play it. I completed it when I had my PlayStation 4. Unfortunately, you know, it kicked the bucket, so I'm looking for a replacement. Probably a PS5 because it's backwards compatible. But I did play God of War 2018. My only regret with that game is that I never went back to finish off all of the Valkyries.
Oh, they were hard.
They're hard.
Yeah.
They are hard.
They were controller breaking rage for me, and I just refused to do them. I think I didn't even kill one. I nearly killed one, but then it just decimated me, and I thought, you know what? I've done the story. I don't need to play this anymore. I hate this game.
There were actually some good videos on how to tackle the Valkyries, how you watch for their patterns and stuff. I watched a couple of them, and I was getting motivated. I was like, oh, I can do this. But then you had games like Days Gone, and you had Death Stranding, and you had Ghost of Tsushima all dropping within a certain time. And I was like, I just don't have the time to tackle them because I want to platinum some of these games, you know?
That's it. I mean, I remember when I played it. I mean, I only played it probably in the summer recently, God of War, and I got so distracted by doing the side quests. I was like, I need to stick to the main game. I'm completely coming off this. And I was actually getting to the point where I was going to go rage quit because I was like, I can't be this person. I'm going to break a controller. And I was like, I'm going to stick to the main mission now. I'm going to stick to the main mission. And I do want to go back, and I'd love to go back and finish those side bits as well, you know, because it's like you learn something new every time you do it, and you're just like, yeah, but you don't want to rage quit at the same time or break anything, so it's a bit
that's it. I must say, with Ragnarok, they have a. I won't spoil anything. I won't say anything that's in it, but they have a Valkyrie equivalent.
Okay.
So they changed it up a bit. And again, if like say you get distracted with side stuff, you're gonna get lost in this. It's the side quests. They call them favors this time, which pretty much give you a lot more lore, a lot more information, and they feel like they're just like a main part of the game. They don't just feel like something on the side you're doing and done with. It's so integrated. It's so well done. You can tell all the delays they had with this game, the passion, the love that's gone into this game. You feel that connection. If you connected with the first game, if you connected with 2018, you will connect with this one. It's literally carrying on from what you've done, and this is the last one in the Norse saga as well. They didn't want to do it into 3 games. They wanted to tie it all into 2, which is good because I think it was Corey Barlog said they had enough content to make a 3rd game, but if they had done it, you would be a further 5, 6, 7 years down the line before it came out, which would then probably be onto the PlayStation 6.
Yeah.
And they don't want to wait that long between it, so they've managed to wrap this saga up. They're not saying it's done for good. They just said wrap the Norse saga up into this 2nd game. So
they could always do story DLC.
Yeah, they could always do some. I don't think they will. I think you might get like a Game Plus mode, something like that, like they did. Maybe
that would be nice.
Yeah, maybe like see how long you can last, horde mode maybe type thing. But I think they want to move on to something else. Let God of War rest for a while. Because they're always going to come back to it. But I think they want to try something new and different, which would be good because it's when these studios, developers try and do something different. A lot of the time, it's magic. It's amazing. Look at Guerrilla Games. They've done Killzone. Killzone's all they really did, first-person shooters. And they pitched what became Horizon Zero Dawn as a game. And they said, go ahead and build it. And it went on to sell millions upon millions of copies and got a sequel, which has also sold millions and millions of copies. Yeah. It's a shame it got overshadowed quite a lot with Elden Ring, which is a shame because it came out around the same time. But there's nothing you can do with that. So but no.
Well, I think a lot of these classic PlayStation IPs, they kind of run their course, and it's a smart move, for some of these studios to move on. Like, you got Guerrilla Games, of course, with Killzone. With Killzone Shadowfall, they were kind of like, you know what, we just want to try something new. With Horizon Zero Dawn and then Forbidden West after it. You have Naughty Dog. Now, they had a project in the works, which was codenamed Stray Cross, but that was several years ago. And I think that was kind of their focus after Uncharted, because after, Uncharted 4, Thief's End, they were just kind of like, you know what, we want to let this universe rest. And now that Sony Santa Monica is kind of like, hey, we just want to let God of War rest, it gives them the room to move on to something that may be the best game of this generation. They definitely have the talent to make a phenomenal game that's memorable. And I think it'll be interesting to see what they focus on after God of War, after they kind of shelve God of War for a little bit.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. What about you, Sarah? What would you like to see out of Santa Monica for the next game?
I'm Nick. I go with the flow with games. I literally am one of these people that if I see something I like, I will play. I am literally one of those people, like I've played Last of Us. I got to a point and I rage quit because I couldn't get past the clickers. You get to that point. I think like you're saying with God of War, they've tied it in to finish with this one with Ragnarok, and to give it a break, which is good because sometimes obviously you continually do those games, you can get bored of those games, and I've seen that happen many a times where they just keep bringing out something and it just doesn't work for them, so where they can now focus on something new, it will be great. It'll be that one day they'll just come up with that idea and I'll go boom, and then it'll be one of those top hitters, and You know, I'm ashamed. I'm gutted that I never ever got. I only found out of God of War this year. You know, it's like because my boyfriend left his PlayStation 4 here. I saw it in the shop. I was like, I'm going to play it. You know, and that is how I got into it. That's how I got into the PlayStation 4. So yeah, I'm still learning all the PlayStation stuff now because I'm more Xbox, but we're gonna get there slowly but surely.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You know, it's we're a PlayStation show here, but we've all we all love both sides, and I like that's as we were saying in the green room. I like that dynamic. We're not all one way and not the other.
Yeah.
We like it's nice to have a mix, and it's nice to cheer on both these consoles and the games because at the end of the day, whether there's console wars or not, or people want to go there, at the end of the day, it's real life people that are making these games, giving their time, putting, their passion, creativity in these games, and for us, and it's brilliant to see. But I think I'd like to see Santa Monica go in a bit of a different direction, because they've been doing the games that they've been doing. I'd like maybe try something different. Maybe try a first person game, see where they go with that. No, I wouldn't say first person shooter. Maybe something like Outlast. Don't know if anyone played that. The one where you go around the camera and the freaky bit. Something like that. Something horror. Something a bit different. Go down a bit of a different route. But it'd be interesting to see. Yeah. I'm very sorry.
And never again.
Oh, yeah, I am I love horror films. Absolutely love horror films. I can watch gore, jump scares, everything. But when it comes to the games, I'm very much like, I struggle. I had the PlayStation VR 1 and I got Paranormal Activity for it. And I tell you, from the minute you start that game, you're just studying this front garden, looking at this house, and there's like a flash of lightning, and you see an image of someone in a window, then they're gone, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And then you're like, don't go in the house, don't go in the house, and then you got to go in the house, and then...
I'll be perfectly honest. When I first played Outlast 2, I played it for 10 minutes, and as soon as someone flipped past the bar, and I was like, no, I'm done. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I decided to go on Twitch as to start streaming. And then I did it with a bet with someone to say, if you can give me 50 followers, I'll do Outlast 2. And then I end up doing Outlast 2 in a hotel. Work that one out. So scary parts in a hotel is not a good thing, you know what I mean? And I literally screamed the hotel down. I was like, bye, I've got to give me a break. See you later, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I could do plug cuts, horror, anything, but games, no.
I got as far as, I heard, I'd gone upstairs, obviously in VR, and I could hear a tap, like a hammer tapping. I'm like, what's that? So I'm like, peek my head round the corner, and there's this woman in this white dress nailing boards on a window, and then she taps and then just stops, and I'm like, oh, and then her head just turns around, and then screams and runs at me. Heads off. No, that's it. Done. Not that was it. I never went back to it again. What about you, Sentinel? How are you with horror games?
I'm usually pretty good. There's some games like Outlast and the Amnesia Collection I really need to tackle. I don't play in a dark room. It's not that it bothers me. It's just, because it's poor for your eyes. So I don't want to have to wear my glasses. So if I have the light on behind the TV, then it's obviously not as much of a strain. So regardless of the game, I just play with the light on behind it. I'm not too bad with horror games. I just I think horror games for me is kind of like how Fish is for some people. They're okay with it, but it's just not really their jam. It's the same thing for me. Resident Evil games and stuff like that I'm cool with because it's horror action. But straight up horror games, I've played through them before. They're all right. And they could be phenomenal, but it's just not my preferred genre, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair enough. I got a message before in the chat to say my mic was a little bit quiet. If everyone, if I sound fine, just let me know. If I need to turn it up, turn it down, just let us know. Right, let's move on. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 UK launch sales are up 92% over Vanguard over on the UK monthly charts. 2.83 million games were sold in the UK last month, up 11.2% over the year before. According to the GSD data, 1.75 million of those games were sold via digital download stores, that's quite an increase, really. Yeah, which is a rise of nearly 36% year on year. However, just short of 1.1 million games were sold via physical retailers, which is a drop of 14% over October 2021. So that's quite a big drop, really. I think we're getting more and more into that digital side of things. I think it's just that convenience, and we had a show last night called Gaming Room 101. I recommend going and watching it. It's hilarious because I become Saint BMG with my tinsel hair, beard, and crown. It's hilarious. But yeah, it was one of the topics I said was physical game stores should be gone. Really, I could understand years ago why we needed them, because you had the likes of these PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo relied on physical game stores to sell hardware. They needed them. So, yeah, we needed to sell physical games as well. So they were making money out of that, a small cut, and they could sell the consoles. Whereas now you can literally buy everything direct from Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. You don't have to go to a shop anymore to do it. So I can see that numbers are going to rise higher in digital. They're going to drop more into the physical sales, and it's just going to make them even more obsolete. And it's a shame as well. I never want to see anyone out of work. I wish there was a place for these things. But if you remember Blockbuster, I think we're all old enough to remember Blockbuster. Yeah. As soon as your Amazon, your Netflix, and that's coming around, they just couldn't compete. They tried doing things a bit differently. You could buy consoles and things like that, and it just got to the point where it just didn't work anymore because you got all your subscription services and you didn't really need it in digital. So all right, let's carry on. The success is all down to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The Activision Blizzard shooter was an October release this year, whereas last year's title, Call of Duty Vanguard, launched in November. Even so, it was significantly improved performance for the franchise. Modern Warfare 2's opening week sales are almost 92% higher than what Vanguard managed. 57. These are interesting percentages on where the game was bought. 57% of sales came on PlayStation formats. 42% of that is on PlayStation 5, with nearly 33% on Xbox platforms and nearly 11% on PC. So again, that's it just shows with everything that's going on currently with the Activision Blizzard deal that they do need, as Phil Spencer has said repeatedly, Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation. Wherever there is a PlayStation, you will play a native version of Call of Duty. And when you see numbers like that, 57% are PlayStation players, it's a big number. It's a big number. So that's not surprising. And again, that brings us down to the PlayStation 5 as well. It narrowly holds off the Xbox. Oh, we'll come to that in a second. We'll discuss the sales first. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 have you played that, Sarah?
I haven't personally played it. I am not a Call of Duty fan. I never have been. I think I've only ever played it once, only for a couple of hours. And to be honest, it wasn't a game for me. I'm not one of these people that just want to go around shooting people like online and stuff like that. I've never really been that type of gamer. My dad loves it. He will rate it to high heaven, and I will play along with him if it needs to be, just to keep him happy, But obviously I have a lot of friends that play it, and I can see why it's doing so well in sales. I really can, and it's one of those people, you've got a lot of people that play it quite a lot and they're really experienced at playing it. If I went in there, I'd be there completely like a complete noob at doing it. I wouldn't be able to probably get very far in it multiplayer way anyway. But at the same time, I think I get bored of it. This is the thing. Like, I like a good storyline. I don't like to just go in and just shoot people and that's it. I like a good storyline when I'm playing, because obviously COD is mainly online. That's what it's more about than anything. Where I'm like the story side of it all and stuff like that. But I can generally see why. I mean, every time I've seen it, it has improved, and I can see that as a person that doesn't play it, I can actually see that. But yeah, again, a game not for me, which is such a shame. But at the same time, I'm not.
No, that's fair enough. I've not played it myself yet. The last Call of Duty I played was Black Ops 2. I absolutely loved that. I was good at it. I enjoyed it, and I didn't really touch him after that, because the whole new game, because it was on Xbox side, I was playing it, and it was like a new game coming out every year, but there was exclusive content to PlayStation for a year. So the time you got that content, the new game was out, and I just kind of fell off it. I have toyed with the idea of picking up Modern Warfare 2, because it's a 2-year game.
Right.
But they also did announce that in their earnings call last week that there is a 2023 premium Call of Duty coming out. And Jason Schreier came out to clear it up, to say it's not a new Call of Duty game. It is a expansion to Modern Warfare 2 that they're going to charge you $70 for. So that's kind of just put me right off it again. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to leave that. But it's a very impressive game. The numbers are impressive, and it just shows that it does that so well on PlayStation. Sentinel, you do have Modern Warfare 2, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
How do you find it? Do you think compared to Vanguard that it's justified how high the sales are?
I know that Activision really wanted to hit it out of the park with Modern Warfare 2. You know, they kind of reimagined the entire Modern Warfare sub-brand, I guess, of Call of Duty with Modern Warfare 2019. It was a more realistic, and it was more realistic as far as the campaign goes. Now, of course, multiplayer is still ridiculously stupid in some areas, but you know, I think with Modern Warfare 2, you know, you see some like Burger King restaurants, you know, completely in the Modern Warfare 2 theme, which I think is ridiculous, but it's obviously working. You know, you see the huge advertisements on the side of buildings, and I think a lot of people were hyped for this anyway, especially with the whole Activision Blizzard thing, because I kind of feel like, you know, Jim Ryan going back and forth about this with Phil Spencer has actually helped Call of Duty, because now people are like, oh, what's all the fuss about? People that may not have been following it before are now following it, just because you have these two representatives of Sony and Xbox going at it about Call of Duty, and they're like, well, let's see, you know, why they're fussing so much about it. You know, I'd argue that most people already know what Call of Duty is. It's kind of like Madden or FIFA. It's pretty much a household name. And it's pretty much like American football. You know, you either love it or you don't. Some people love it, some people don't. The multiplayer, in my opinion, is a mess right now. Now, I played Modern Warfare 2019 a lot. I did pretty good in there. I had hours and hours of clips where I'm getting crazy kill streaks. But in Modern Warfare 2, because they're mixing the pros with the casuals, it's a complete mess right now. You have people that could legitimately get like a 25-1 kill death ratio mixed in with people that are doing good to get 3 and 13. So it's an absolute mess, and I play it very sparingly, you know, because it's apparent that Activision didn't really think this through when it came to having certain modes available at launch, like hardcore and ranked matches and stuff like that. You know, the stuff that would separate the different skill levels. They didn't have that available at launch. So Modern Warfare 2 right now is a big mess. I know the reason why they did that, though, was because they wanted Warzone 2.0 out the door as soon as possible. So probably a lot of the manpower and focus that they could have spent having these modes available for Modern Warfare 2 at launch, they were too busy with Warzone 2.0 because it's a free-to-play battle royale and it drives interest up in the brand. And I get that, but I also think that they should have prioritized Modern Warfare 2 and its multiplayer over Warzone 2.0. I don't care. Warzone could have launched after the new year, and I would have been fine with that. I think going forward, though, they need to they need to really look at mistakes that they've made with Modern Warfare 2, because they've made quite a few. And that's not me hating on the brand. I pretty much buy every Call of Duty at launch, but I'm just calling it how it is. Like the level progression system is ridiculous. You have to, with weapon A, you have to get 35 kills or something to just unlock level B, that you need level B leveled up to a certain point to get a silencer for weapon A. It's completely ridiculous. It's all over the place. It makes no sense how they have the leveling up of weapons and accessories structured. It's like they had someone who, I don't know, was maybe a programmer for Candy Crush come in and design this. It makes no sense, and it's completely a step backwards from how Modern Warfare 2019's weapons leveling up system was. And you can pretty much ask anyone who's played Modern Warfare 2, everybody unanimously admits that the leveling up system for the weapons, and keep in mind that's a big part of Call of Duty, is the different types of weapons. The system they have for leveling up weapons is a mess. Not having these modes available at launch, and they said, oh, it'll come later, maybe in January. That's a mess. All of that stuff should have been available and sorted out at launch. It's pretty much like the misstep they did with Overwatch 1 disappearing the day that Overwatch 2 came around. And it makes no sense, because if you remember, the Overwatch 2 servers were absolutely abysmal. You had people waiting for like 6 hours just to get in a match. It makes no sense from Activision Blizzard's, from a perspective of a gamer, and even from inside Activision Blizzard, it's like, okay, you need extra manpower for this. Why would you close out this game that's automatically going to put additional heat on the game you just released? Like with Modern Warfare 2, why would you not release these at launch, have additional manpower, maybe have a little crunch? I know that's kind of a bad word in the gaming industry, but have a little bit of crunch so that you can have these modes that everyone wants available at launch, and maybe you have testing groups evaluate your level weaponing system and say, hey, is this system good, or is it crap? And of course everyone would have said it was crap, and then they're like, well, we need to really go back to the drawing board and figure this out. So Modern Warfare 2 is doing crazy numbers, but it's also getting a lot of criticism, and rightfully so, because they did screw up a lot of stuff. They screwed up a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and hopefully, obviously, over the coming months, they can start fixing these things. But like I said, things should be running. They did these betas, they took some feedback. These things should be running well. They should be running correctly. They shouldn't be running into all these issues. But gaming, they just want to get out. They know they're going to sell the games regardless, in whatever state they release it. They could have just released it with Halo Infinite style and still sold just as many, but hopefully we're going to see some improvements.
It just sounds like PlayStation just decided that it's a Call of Duty game. We know it's going to sell. We're just going to put it out, despite knowing that it wasn't a game that was ready to be released. That's what I'm hearing. It sounds like they've just released it because they know they're going to get sales from it. Yeah, and they're not listening to what people are saying, like in the test. Or they've just rushed it and gone, no, we want to keep the release date. Boom, let's just get it out. We'll patch it up later. You can't do that with a game, though. It won't work, because eventually it will backfire on them, and they'll go, well, the next one come out, and they'll be like, well, no, if it's going to be the same as the last one, why would I want to buy it? So it could possibly backfire on them if they keep doing this.
Yeah.
PlayStation did have a good thing going, though. They had exclusive content for Modern Warfare 2 that's not available on Xbox. It's like some skins for your weapons and different stuff like that, cosmetic items. And I know PlayStation's boss, Jim Ryan, has been real adamant about Call of Duty not appearing on Game Pass. I kind of think that's not fair to Xbox gamers, but I think a good medium but for PlayStation and Xbox to work this out in the future is to say, hey, you know what? We'll give you the vanilla version on Game Pass, for free. But if you buy it on PlayStation, there's 2 extra missions. There's all this different cosmetic stuff that comes with your $70 purchase, so that PlayStation gamers don't feel like oh, why am I paying $70 when I could get it for free? No, because the free version is missing a lot of stuff, and maybe an exclusive operator. I would say do that for the PlayStation crowd, because then you can give it away for free on Xbox, and both Xbox and PlayStation gamers are still going to feel like it's good for them, and they'll feel satisfied from that deal. They're not going to feel like they got slighted on either side.
Yeah, I think he's turned around and said as well, and he's Phil Spencer in an interview a day or two ago that he is willing to sit down with PlayStation and discuss, other commitments and contracts and things. So it'd be interesting to see. Again, it's never going to be taken off PlayStation. It'll always be in PlayStation. No. So if you do prefer playing PlayStation, the game's going to be there. It's not going anywhere. You're still going to have access. And it's been clear it's going to be a native version. So it's going to be the same across PlayStation and Xbox. Will they have the same exclusive stuff they have when the initial deal finishes? No. It's going to be a bit different, but I don't think you're going to see a great deal of difference. I think the only thing you're really going to see is like marketing-wise, it's just going to be Xbox advertising more than anything else. But other than that, I bet we won't even notice a great deal of difference. Maybe the odd map comes out a month before on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you have it a month earlier than anywhere else. So it would be interesting to see. It'll be interesting. But yeah, amazing sales numbers. It's every new game, it just keeps going higher and higher. I do think part of the big increase, that 92%, is I think a lot of people were excited when they said this game's going to be a 2-year game instead of a yearly release. So I think that got a lot of people who have fell off Call of Duty or was on the fence, pushed them straight back into it because it's like, because why not? I even considered it, and like I said, I've not played since Black Ops 2, and I was considering getting it, but as soon as they turned around and said, you're going to have to pay, if you want the expansion, story expansion, content next year, you're going to pay full price again. So it's like, then it makes me feel like it's just a yearly game again, but we'll see. But I do believe, sorry. Yeah.
No, I just think with like Call of Duty, like, I mean, like I said, I don't really play it, but like, what I find what really bemused me is how much it is to download as well. I remember when I downloaded one of the games, Call of Duties, it's like 100 gig, like straight on my Xbox, and I was like, that's so much for a game as well. The more games that come out, obviously the higher gig they are being, and I always found that Call of Duty was one of the highest ones, and that kind of slightly off put me as well, because it was like, we were taking 100 gig and you're not bringing up to the par of the game, and I was like, nah, that's just going to be deep. I think I played it for like 10 minutes and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to get rid of this, because it's 100 gig that I could do with something for another game that I'm really interested in, but it wasn't bringing up to par of what the actual game was. So it was losing it out on it. And even my dad had said that, he said it's a big game to download, and then for it not to be up to par where it should be, why would he want to keep it? And it was just sort of, there you go. That also comes into it also, because every game that I know, it always just goes higher and higher and higher. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like so much space,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Call of Duty is big. I mean, it's like my download last night was 90 gigabytes. I think I'm still downloading it today just because I had other stuff I was trying to do, moving around different games and such. But it's like, for a Call of Duty to be like 100, 150, 200 gigabytes just for one game, I mean, it better be solid gold, in pristine condition. And it better have tons of replay content, because it's like you look at all these other games that are like 20, 30, 40 gigabytes, and you might enjoy them tremendously more than Call of Duty. It's like it has to give you a reason to keep that on your hard drive, especially when we're talking about hard drives that, you're lucky to get 500 gigabytes and you got a game that's 150 gigabytes. It's like, that's ridiculous.
It's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah. But also, I think, is it today that Warzone 2 dropped today? I think the servers are actually live now. 16th. Yeah. So, the Call of Duty Warzone 2 has dropped. The servers are live. So if that is something you're interested in, anyone, and something you want to play, don't jump in, download, and delete everything off your console to fit it on top of the game. I daren't even look to see how many gigabytes the Warzone 2 is, but I bet it's absolutely close to what Modern Warfare 2 is now. Probably, I bet it takes the best part of 200 plus gig for both to have both. Easy.
You know what? It's like I had to move 20 games from my internal solid state drive in my Series X, because it's like it's like, I think 1 terabyte or whatever. I had to move like so many games just to fit the update, because of course you can't play it from an external because it's Series X and it has all these nice features, so it has to be on a solid state drive. And I'm like, oh my god! So all day yesterday, what was I doing? Moving all these huge games just to make room for the update. So ridiculous.
It's crazy. Before we move on, let's just have a shout out in chat. Thank you for everyone turning up. So I'll go right from the top. ZFG Gaming, Muppet, Fimber, XBL Party Podcast. That'll be Ash. Thank you for coming in. We said Muppet, Stubbs Gaming, 108 Dragons TV. Anyone else we got there? Just make sure I haven't missed anyone. No, I think I got everyone. No, thank you for everyone coming. It's great to see you all in chat. And just again, another reminder from the announcement from the start of the show, one of the games that we are giving away once we hit 1,000 subscribers is a copy of God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, don't forget Thimber also. Thimber's in the chat.
Oh, sorry, Fimber. Did I miss you? So, hi, Fimber. Sorry, mate. I do apologise. Look, I'll even put your wave up. See, I've seen you now. I've got you. But yeah, giving away God of War Ragnarok in the giveaway. We haven't quite planned how we're doing everything yet, but we obviously keep an eye on the socials. There'll be stuff coming closer to the time. But yeah, you want to be in a chance for winning that if you've got PlayStation. Like, share, subscribe, and hopefully we'll be there soon. Right, moving on. Footage of certain affinities, Transformers Rise, allegedly leaks online. This is from Tom Henderson over on Insider Gaming. New cinematic footage has emerged of certain affinities, rumoured Transformers game dubbed Transformers Rise. The alleged footage was uploaded by YouTuber DPZ Luna, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, who claims the footage is from the rumoured game. If you go over to the site, you can actually watch the alleged leaked footage, which I can't figure out how to play on here, and I probably won't just in case we get struck off for it or something, so I better not. The Transformers title by Certain Affinity has been rumoured for the past year or so, when a game development agreement stated that the studio will produce a game on the Transformers property. Pursuant to the game development agreement, Certain Affinity shall, under the direction of and with input and cooperation from the company, inter alia, who have the rights for the games, develop and produce for the company the game based on certain intellectual property, namely the Transformers property, as well as provide related services to operate, maintain the game, the document reads. Senior producer Aaron Hamilton similarly dropped the game's title during a podcast in the summer of 2021, stating that it's called Transformers Rise. In terms of official announcement, not much else has been given in terms of details about the game, but it's believed to be a third-person shooter. So what do we think of a Transformers game? Transformers I don't think's been relevant for a number of years now. I can't even remember the last time the game. I can't even tell you when the last film came out, but I think the last film was that bad. I think no one can remember it. So is it too late for a Transformers game, or is it something that they could revive the series? Could it tie into a film that may be in the works? Sarah, come to you first.
Oh, see, that's a hard one because obviously, like you said, the last couple of movies did bomb, and they bombed pretty hard. Like, I don't think I even watched the last one because I was really disappointed in the one before it, and I was just like, damn, I mean, okay, the question is how come, why now? There has to be a reason now why they decided to drop the game. That's the question, Yes, maybe they do maybe they're rebooting it, that is maybe a idea to start it off, maybe, I mean, personally, I think it's too late. They should have just left it, to be honest, because obviously people got bad taste in their mouth from the movies alone, and I was like me, I was disappointed in the movies because I liked the old retro cartoon ones. I really loved them. They were something that my family grew up on. My brother always used to watch it, and then I used to watch it after him, and yeah, okay. The movies came out. The first one wasn't too bad because it kind of made it back into it. But why bring out a game so many years later? Why? There has to be a reason. So my only thing they could be is that they're going to reboot it again and start afresh, maybe. I mean, but again, even starting afresh could make it fail. So there's something obviously going on there, obviously in the background that we don't know. But why now, of all times, bringing out a Transformers game? To me, I wouldn't personally buy it unless I looked at some reviews, absolutely researched the game. So yeah, it just all kind of, like I said, there's got to be a reason. There has to be a reason. They wouldn't just drop a game years later after it bombed massively in the last movie. So yeah.
And I can imagine the license isn't going to be very cheap either for Transformers. No. Obviously, it is an established IP in game. There have been some good games. I can't at the top of my head remember the last one, but they kind of went that cartoony style, didn't they, the games? And I think it went downhill from there. But it's interesting to see where it'll go and how they would do it. I can imagine, I've got a feeling they're going to go down the live service route. I think it's going to be one of them. It's going to be a bit of a multiplayer game. You can buy new Transformers, new skins, and things like that. Because obviously they mentioned they're going to maintain it, keep it running and stuff like that. So kind of hints that they're going to do something along them lines. Sentinel, how about yourself? What do you think about a new Transformers game? Something you would get, or is it? Do you think that's a waste of time and money of a certain affinity? Because they're currently working on Halo Infinite, this special mode for Halo Infinite, aren't they?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's a wasted opportunity. And the movies it's like you want to strike while the iron's hot with a lot of these movies. You don't see anyone making Thundercat video games right now, because it's like that's kind of moved on. And I understand there's still some Transformers fans out there, but the reality is, unless you completely reboot the entire franchise, and I don't think it's been dormant enough really to warrant a reboot. Unless you're going to reboot the entire franchise, I don't even see a new movie being released as really being that popular, because it kind of feels like they ran the Transformers movie franchise into the ground, so much so that they could announce a new one and say, hey, you know what, the tickets only cost you $5, and people still probably wouldn't go see it. Not that it's a bad franchise, but it's just the people that control how the movies are made. It's just they don't really understand what the fans like, and that's kind of what contributed to the movies where they ended up just being, movies that people didn't even want to go see anymore. And to invest all this time and energy, because it's harder to make a video game than it is a movie. With a movie, you can have a talented crew and you can throw it together in 9 weeks. With a video game, you're talking 2 years, anywhere from 2 to 8 years to make a video game. So I definitely think this might just be something like, hey, we have to make a video game just to hold on to the license kind of thing. But I mean, I would see this game probably being discounted, half off within the first 90 days.
Yeah. I wonder if we're going to get I wonder if it's going to tie into a film, because I think, was it last year that they sort of said they were going to be rebooting the Transformers franchise, or maybe it's something that's going to tie in with that. Not so much a licensed game, but more as in it's a movie tie-in game, but more of it is a Transformers game that's going to launch around when the film eventually lands. I don't know, but it's like Avengers. Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix came out after the hype of Avengers Endgame had well and truly gone, and everyone started to move on from it, and then they brought out
Avengers, but that's because they weren't the first studio to tackle the Avengers. They weren't the ones that were supposed to originally make it. It was actually supposed to be a studio. I don't know which studio within THQ was supposed to tackle it, but I know THQ was the ones originally tasked with it. But they had it was more of a first-person type of perspective with Avengers. They were having tons of problems. They just couldn't get the feel right, and that's when, of course, it was taken from them and given to Crystal Dynamics. And this was right after THQ's closure, which was at the end of the PS3 generation. And that's kind of why it took them so long to come up with a Marvel's Avengers game, because from what I remember hearing about this, the THQ studio had actually been working on it for probably 2 years. So if they would have gone ahead, we could have had the Avengers game around 2015, 2016, and it still would have been around with a lot of the Avengers hype, but them not being able to effectively do it is kind of why it got delayed until after nobody really cared too much about the Avengers anymore.
Yeah, it's again, yeah, I agree. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that another studio had tackled it first. I thought it was just straight from Square Enix. So,
I didn't either. I had to research it. I researched it several years ago.
Oh, right. Good.
Because it wasn't.
Retention.
People didn't really talk about it that much back then, and THQ played it pretty close to the chest. But when they started falling apart and having to sell things off, a lot of what was really going on in these studios actually came to light.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Hello, it's Timmy. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming along, my friend. Thank you, everyone, for coming along. Right, let's move on. Remedy confirms Control 2 is in development for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. This is from Andy Robertson over at Video Games Chronicle. You're probably going to see a pattern. I tend to get all my info from VGC because it's just written out so clear and easy. So thank you, VGC, for providing us all these awesome topics to talk about. Okay, Remedy has announced it's co-developing and co-publishing a sequel to Control with 505 Games. Control 2, formerly known as codename Heron, will be released for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X, which means they are not going for last-gen consoles, which they did not announce. So that's no PS4, no Xbox One. So it's a shame, but I think we're kind of getting to that stage now where we sort of have to push forward with the gen, because otherwise we're never going to be able to get these consoles where they should be. Sorry, just bear with me a second. We've got some bots appearing in chat, so we better just get rid of them.
Well, do we know if it's because it pretty much has to appear on the Series S as well? That's kind of like the that's
Series
kind
X
of
and S.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people say that a lot of these developers need to leave the Series S behind, and I know they're leaving behind the PS4 and the Xbox One, but it kind of is like you can't really do that because a lot of these people that can't afford the premium consoles, like the full price PS5 and the it's like that the Series S is their transition console.
Yeah. But it's just kind of going on the current gen hardware now, which is it's going to happen. We're going to see more and more games it happen to, and it's just something we've kind of got it used to. But if this had this not been a pandemic and this had been normal time, so to speak, it would have been 12 months at maximum, and we would have been out of this. It would have been everything would have been on the newer console. So, but we're going to see more and more of it, and it is pushing more and more people to pick up the newer stuff. So it's just the way things are going.
Well, and the whole problem, like you said, the pandemic, people weren't able to pick it up. That's why you're still seeing like God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West on the PlayStation 4.
Yes.
It's because PlayStation doesn't have the Series S competitor, so they still have to make games for the PlayStation 4. I kind of feel as if the PS5 would have had a lower budget direct competitor for the Series S, they could have abandoned last generation a lot faster.
Yeah, definitely. Right. So Control 2 releasing for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and it'll be built on Remedy's Northlight engine, as it was announced Friday. I didn't even know they had. I thought they used Unreal. I didn't even know they actually had their own engine, Remedy, which is a bit of a surprise. Remedy will publish the game on the PC platform, and 505 Games will publish it on the console platforms. The project is currently at the concept stage. Remedy first announced plans for a bigger budget Control game back in June 2021, but I'm proud now to confirm that the bigger budget Control game, also known as codename Heron, is Control 2, a full-blown sequel to our award-winning Control game, said CEO Tero Vertela. I probably butchered your name, somewhat Rodden. I do apologise, but thank you for telling us it's Control 2. Mikhail Kurashin game director of Control franchise, said in a statement, "With Control, we leaped into the unknown. We wanted to create something new, something different and unexpected, a world like no other. Thank you for the audience for making Control such a success. With Control 2, we will take another leap into the unknown. It'll be an unexpected journey. It'll take a while, but to put it mildly, it's the most exciting project I've ever worked on. It's still in early days, but it will be worth the wait." Control. Did either of you actually play Control by Remedy, Sentinel?
Yeah, I played the first Control. I think I bought it on PS4. I played it on the Xbox, because I think it was available on Game Pass for a time.
It was, yeah.
I liked it a lot. I really liked it a lot. I love the premise of Control, where they were kind of able to manipulate everything going on in the real world, from a shadowy organization that was basically right in the middle of New York City that no one was aware even existed. And how it tied into the Alan Wake universe was very smart, because it allows them to create this bigger universe, Remedy, that really gives the fans. It feels like the experience isn't just a one and done. It feels like it's part of a bigger, I hate to say cinematic universe, but it's like that, where things in Control affect Alan Wake and vice versa, obviously. Now the map, obviously, I think I talked about this before, how I didn't really like the map. I felt the map needed a lot of work, but outside of that, I thought Control was a fun game, very fun, and it was definitely a surprise. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was when it came out, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Awesome. Sarah, what about yourself? Did you play Control?
No, I've never played Control ever. I've actually never heard of it. It's the first time I've actually heard of it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind with the games because I only really started. I only started playing really more this week. Yes, I rage quit on Alan Wake, and I'm never going back to it, Stu. Thank you very much. I did. If it's anything like Alan Wake, I'm sorry, I will probably rage quit in it, because I literally got to a point in Alan Wake where I couldn't find any bullets, and I was like, I'm done with the game, I'm done with it. It was literally like put the controller down and walk away. But yeah, I've actually never heard of it, so yeah, I have to have a look at that one. If it's anything like Alan Wake, never.
yeah, because it's like as Sentinel says, they smartly connected it to the Alan Wake universe, which is really good, and the DLC that they did, the expansion that I can't remember the name of it, that tied into Alan Wake, which was real, as you said, really really clever how they did it. I did start Control, but I struggled with the controls, if I'm honest. It was a bit, I don't know what it was. I think trying to use the powers that you have to try and do stuff, I just couldn't quite, like shooting and trying to throw stuff. I just couldn't get my head around it. But I do want to come back to it. So I'll confuse then, Sentinel. What would you like to see in a sequel? I can't remember, don't know how Control 1 ended. Is it something that warrants a sequel, or do you think they might just take it in a completely different direction?
Yeah, I think it definitely warrants a sequel. Hopefully we'll see a better map system in this one, because the map was pretty confusing.
Same game, just a better map.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, maybe better graphics. I mean, it's like Control wasn't the best looking game. It was good looking, it just wasn't the best, even on last gen systems. I hope it has I would love to see 60 frames per second locked at 1080p, or 45 frames per second locked at something like 1440. That would be straight for me.
Yeah. To me, I'm if it isn't 60, I ain't playing it. I need that smooth 60 frames. Anything below 60, I can't do it. I can't do it. Well, anyone else doing chat? No? Right, let's move on then. Fortnite veteran moves to Naughty Dog as principal monetization designer. Again from Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming. Fortnite senior systems designer Anders Howard has moved to Naughty Dog as principal monetization designer, according to his LinkedIn profile. The move comes after 7.5 years at Epic, followed by a brief 10-month stint at Ubisoft Stockholm. Sorry, that was good. I couldn't catch my breath then. Howard was responsible to help form the core of Battle Pass progression strategy, delivering overwhelming value for that product as many players as possible, his LinkedIn reads. Howard's move comes as Naughty Dog continues its development on a new multiplayer-based project, the Last of Us universe. The game was originally revealed at Summer's Games Fest this summer, with The Last of Us creator Neil Druckmann saying more of this very unique experience will be revealed in 2023. What started out as a multiplayer mode has evolved because of the team's ambition. They really wanted to do something where we've never done before at Naughty Dog. We felt like the way to do it justice was to make it a standalone title. They've been working on it for the past 2 years, and ambition has grown, but we're not quite ready to unveil, Druckmann said about the project. The Sony have come out and they have said that they are working on 10 live service games that they want to bring out over the next 5 years. And obviously, Last of Us standalone. I forgot what they actually called it, the multiplayer in Last of Us. I can't quite remember the name of it, chat. If you know, let me know, remind me. But yeah, so it looks like this the multiplayer side of it is going to be obviously a standalone live service game. And obviously, Anders Howard, pretty much he makes battle passes, makes money. Pretty much, he's there to make money, make you part with your money to buy stuff. But also factions, thank you, Muppet. Last of Us factions, thank you. And design battle passes. So, do you think this is something that they're just going to use for Naughty Dog, or do you think they're going to use it right across all their studios? Sarah?
I mean, they could probably most likely go with all their studios just to broaden it a lot more and get it out there a lot more. I mean, like you say, like he's focusing on the battle passes of Last of Us and all those other games, you know. I mean, as you can see, like most battle passes are pretty much a success because everyone wants them, because as soon as they're released, everyone wants to buy them. It's that best money making thing that they can do. Especially if they decide that, you know, there's going to be a quick sale, you know, they know it's going to be a quick sale, they'll whack it up full price, and then sales dip a little bit, they're like, I'll whack it like 20% off, people will get it, you know. I think they'll probably go full studios, to be honest. It will be better for them, and it'll be more money for them, as you say, you know.
Yeah, I suppose you see it in... it's that we've kind of come out of that loot box stage where everything was loot boxes, pay to get random stuff, and, companies, developers making millions upon millions off loot boxes. And every week it was something new, and it was another way they were screwing people out of money. People spending thousands to get a particular skin or a particular role on a weapon, and they were spending money on money to get it. And I kind of feel like battle passes are kind of the new loot box, but now you know what you're going to get. You're shown, here's a 100 level battle pass. This is what you get as you hit each level. There's a free battle pass where you don't get as good stuff, or you get your premium one that's, let's just say for the sake of arguments, $6.99 for this 100 level battle pass. People are going to pick it up. Oh, that's cheap, and I want that stuff. I can see what's further down the line in that battle pass. I want that. $6.99, $6.99, $6.99. You're just going to be. It's a constant money earner, and then Bungie do something clever. You've got your battle pass, a free one, a paid one, but also every few weeks they roll some of the items in the battle pass roll into the store. So if you're thinking, I'm not progressing in the battle pass, it's taking me too long, I just go and buy it
in the store. Yeah.
And if you look at Fortnite, Fortnite on their battle pass systems that he's designed, that makes millions. It's literally, it just churns out money. So he clearly knows what he's doing. He knows how to design these. He knows how to make players feel they're getting value for the money. And he obviously he's very good at what he does. The Jinner, an XBL Party Podcast member, he spends a fortune in Fortnite constantly. He's obsessed with the thing. Always, he's got thousands of skins, but it works. it pulls in the consumer, the buying these things. So he's good at what he does. What do you think, Sentinel? Do you think this move to Sony, Naughty Dog, is just going to make Factions a live service game and going to pretty much have this battle pass system and make loads of money?
I mean, they could. I know The Last of Us IP has its fans. It definitely has people that are interested in it. I think they have to. I think they should tread carefully, because I say that because PlayStation gamers, this type of game that's pretty much exclusive to their console is going to be a new concept. Yeah, you have other games, third-party games, but as far as PlayStation doing this, it's a new concept to a lot of PlayStation gamers, and I think they need to tread lightly when they first start, just to get a feel for how willing people are to pay for certain items in games. I don't think it should ever be pay to win. I think they really should keep it cosmetic focused, just because anytime you start doing pay to win type of stuff, it automatically starts turning people against it, because you have people that may not be as good, and they don't want other people to have an unfair advantage against them. I mean, they're pretty much fighting for every victory they get. So you don't want them to feel like their experience is hindered by these new microtransactions. If it's cosmetic and you have like all these different skins like they do in Fortnite, I think that's fine. And I think I think that PlayStation can use this guy coming over for the Factions MP. I think they can kind of use that as their blueprint for how they go about it in other live service games they're planning out. But again, with live service, it's walking a fine line, because I think people are willing to pay, for different things in live service games. They're okay with that, provided there's a good balance of quality and value for the money. I think if they find that balance and they maintain it, and they don't really truly they don't abuse their gamers, and you see this shit all the time in Grand Theft Auto Online. I would say Grand Theft Auto Online, they have tons of stuff in there that's detrimental to the community as a whole. But I think as long as the PlayStation guys that are putting together this live service stuff, and their the economy that they're going to have in these games, I think that's going to be important, and it's going to determine whether they're around in 10 or 15 years, or whether they fold in 3 or 4 years. Because some of these live service games, they come out with a good premise, but it's poor execution, and they end up going away. And I think if PlayStation really wants to see this succeed, they need to be careful. Within the first 2 years, it's going to determine whether it's going to succeed or fail. So they really need to tread lightly with this. And if this guy's used to it from Epic, I think that's a good person to bring in. But I also think the way things work with Epic is not necessarily the way it's going to work within PlayStation.
Yeah, it's hard as well, because when they're saying they're going to bring 10 live service games over 5 years, in a 5-year period, it just doesn't sound sustainable to me. It's like that's a lot, especially on the PlayStation side of stuff. Everyone wants to play something and try these games. I do believe if the free to play live service games, because you can't just keep them on the PlayStation platform. You're going to have them on PC, if not play. I don't think you'll see them Xbox, but you're definitely going to have them PC day and day, which I think Herman Hulse did say. And that makes sense though. For these live service games, to put them day and date on PC, that's fine, because you're essentially, with a lot of these live service games, they're either going to be free, or it's going to be very, very cheap to get involved, to purchase the game or whatever initially, because your main focus isn't the entry price, it's everything else that they're doing in there. And you look at all these different genres, that PlayStation could exploit. Do they have a competitor for Forza Horizon? No. They have a competitor for Forza Motorsport, Gran Turismo, but they don't have a competitor for Forza Horizon. And you look at all these different car brands that people are willing to pay a season pass for in Forza Horizon. If PlayStation could have 1 or 2 live service games that lean to that specific type of game,
that addresses that type of game that's not available on PlayStation right now. And if they do it right, they could actually make good money and people would be happy with it. So there's a lot of different types of games, these different genres and subgenres that, it's like at first glance, the whole 10 live service games sounds like they're really going to be overdoing it. But if they have one or two for all these different genres, it may be balanced very well.
Yeah. What do you think, Sarah? How do you think they're going to be able to manage so many live service games in a small time period? Or as Stubb says in the chat, they won't bring 10 live service games. They mean they'll try 10 and see what sticks. Do you think that's more true? Or
yeah, I mean, it's a big task. 10 live game servers at the same time is going to be a big task for them. And the thing is, like you say, it depends what is going to work. If they're going to bring out 10 and they're going to do it over a certain amount of time, maybe it might work because they're going to test each one they release, see if it works, and then continue on. Or they're going to just go, right, we'll release these so many, see how it goes. If not, we won't release the next lot, depending on how the thing is. I mean, like everyone's saying, 10 is a lot to bring out at the same time. I mean, personally, I'd like them to see maybe bring out 2, 3, see how it works for them. Is it okay? Then maybe bring out another 3 and just gradually come out, not at the same time, maybe, because the thing is, like Sentinel says, you don't know if it's going to work or not. It could backfire on them completely, and they could lose a hell of a lot of money, and they could lose a lot of people, playing their games. So there is so many factors in, and I think obviously, like PlayStation are the only ones that are going to know what they're going to do. And me personally, I think they should just gradually bring them out slowly but surely. Start off with a few, see how it goes, then bring them out with another 3. If they feel like they've got to 6 and they're going, do you know what? This isn't working for us now. We've tried 6. Fine, leave it there. Don't do any more. So they've got to judge it on how they bring it out, because, like you said, and plus it's going to be a lot for people to do as well at the same time. If they're going to bring 10 out at the same time, everyone's going to go to that one, or this one. No one will know. It's going to be too much for everyone. So if they gradually just bring it out slowly but surely, then they'll get a feel that people will get a taste of everything and then can decide, yeah, this is working. No, this isn't working. So yeah, definitely gradually is probably better for them personally.
Yeah, they're going to have to be careful, because I suppose you've got, they haven't, don't get me wrong, they are not saying they haven't got any money. They have got a fair bit of money, but with the likes of Xbox, who can afford to, any losses, they just write off. It's nothing to them. Whereas Sony need to, PlayStation need to be a bit more strategic. I can't even say the word. They need to be more careful with what they do, because, it's if it doesn't work and it fails, that's a lot of development time and money that have gone into these games that they scrap. So it's trying to find that balance and discovering what works and what doesn't work. Yes, they own Bungie now, so technically they've already got one live service game up and running anyway, which they've got in Destiny 2. So I think Factions is going to be your actual next one. I don't think Destiny counts as the 10. Well, they haven't really specified, but we'll. Yes, thank you, Jenna, for spelling it out for me in the chat there. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do it, what route they go. But I think Factions is going to be your first one. I think that's going to be the test bed to see what works, what doesn't work. You bring on this Anders Howard to come in. He can. Right, this is what I've done. This is what I can do for you. This is going to be fair to consumers. They're going to want to spend money. They're going to benefit. They're going to get absolute amazing benefits out of it, and then try and implement that into other games going forward. But again, you've got to have the idea there. You can have the best battle pass in the world, but if the game's awful, there's no replay value. There's nothing to keep you wanting to get that grinding to keep playing. It'd be pointless. So. Yeah, definitely interesting to see where we go with that, and hopefully it's early 2023 we hear about Factions, because I'm interested in playing it. I heard a lot of good stuff about Factions, and I never did play it. I started Last of Us Part 1, when it first came out, and I just couldn't get right into it. I don't know why. I love Naughty Dog. I love the games. I'm a huge Uncharted fan, but it was just, I don't know what it was about Last of Us that just didn't grab me. But I might give it another chance.
I was the same way when I first played The Last of Us. I pre-ordered it for my PlayStation 3, and I brought it home. I played it for maybe an hour, and I was just like, I just don't like this game at all. Returned it to GameStop, got a credit towards another game, and when I bought my PlayStation 4, I actually got The Last of Us remastered with it. And my wife was like, hey, you know what, you should give it a second chance. And I said, all right, and I played through The Last of Us, really gave it, a chance, and it turned out to be one of my favorite PlayStation games. So you might actually like it, you might try it again.
Yeah, I definitely would say that. I mean, I played it twice. I mean, I played the first time with my boyfriend and then played the second one with us. And I mean, I got further than I did when I was playing with a boyfriend because he was rage quitting, where I was like, I just want to try and give it a bit more time, And the more I did, it was so much better. It was like, yeah, I'm actually enjoying the game now. And okay, yeah, I still rage quit now, but I will go back to it. I know I will go back to it because I don't want to give up on it either. So it's like,
Yeah. Do you think with the Last of Us TV show coming out in January, I think, January 13th or something, they announced, do you think that would, watching that would spur you on to jump back in and play it and also part 2 as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I've had a fellow streamer, he's actually just finished playing, I think he just finished playing part 2 recently.
Okay.
So, and I obviously was getting back into it with him because he was like playing it, and I was like, "Oh my god, like this part 2 looks really good," but I want to finish part 1 first, and it's like, yes, I have to get back into this, and just give it that all, and like I know, like you get to that point where you can't pass that bit, and I was talking to him about it, and he was like, I was exactly the same. He was like, I rage quit, I didn't go back for months, and he was like, but then I gave it another go, and I just kept on trying until I got past it, and he said now I freaking love it, and just I will keep going back to it. So no, I will definitely go back because obviously I know there is a TV series coming out, and I really want to watch that as well. So it's like, I think I've got to play the game as well. So yeah, it's both really.
Yeah, it's kind of smart, really. A lot of people have slated them for remaking Last of Us Part 1. For the PlayStation 5 and obviously eventually will for the PC as well. But I think it's a smart move because people are going to watch this show who haven't played Last of Us, who have picked up a new console and go, you know what? I want to play both these games. I want to see how it plays out in the games to what I watched on TV. So I think they're on for a winner there, but we'll see. We shall see what happens. Right. Well, sticking with the PlayStation news. New rumor suggests a PS5 Slim is releasing in 2023. Again, by Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming. I think he just writes everything for them.
Yeah.
And a new report from the leak.co has suggested a new PlayStation 5 Slim is set to release in 2023. As previously reported, Insider Gaming believes this PlayStation 5 is a detachable disk drive version of the console. As the leak reports, the goal for Sony is to reduce the weight and size of the console, which is something the company has actively been trying to do by reducing the weight of the console since with its B and C chassis. I think I've got B. I got the second iteration of the PS5. It's understood that the new console, internally referred to as D chassis, will not necessarily be branded as a slim version. In fact, the new console is set to replace the old PlayStation 5 entirely, as previously reported. Insider Gaming has seen internal documentation that suggests the old PlayStation 5 console will cease production in October physical year 2023, with the last units hitting shelves in November physical year 2023. The new console, the D chassis, starts production in April physical year 2023 and hits shelves by September physical year 2023. There's a lot of physical years going on there. Sony's expecting to ship over 30 million consoles in physical year 2023, with 18.5 million being the new detachable disk drive version. It's understood that the changes to the PlayStation 5 console is to reduce weight and size and save on shipping costs, but also to save on production costs. Sources have said that the new console can be purchased on its own, technically a digital version of the console, or as a bundle with the new detachable disk drive. Detachable disk drives will also be sold separately if consumers decide to either upgrade in the future or if their current disk drive breaks. Do we need a PS5 console with a detachable disk drive?
No.
Sentinel, my friend. I'll Sarah, go on. You got in there first, Sarah. I will come to you.
No, you don't
Straight
need.
no.
It's not. It's just like it's another money-making thing for Sony. Look, we're all through hard times at the moment. Everyone knows that money's tight at the moment, and because Sony knows that the PlayStation 5 is one of the biggest hits they've had at the moment, they're like, yeah, let's see what we can do to make more money. Let's just make a PlayStation, and you can buy the disc drive separately. That's just more money for them to have. It's like, that's a waste of time just building it. You might as well just leave it as a digital version and then be done with it. Because obviously they sold out when it was all announced. Obviously they sold out megally quick. My boyfriend was lucky to get one himself for Christmas. He got the one with the CD drive in it, and he would prefer to have the CD drive. Any console I have, I prefer the CD drive because I like the physical game copy. I like that. That's me. But why would you build one and then go, oh yeah, but if you want the disc drive, you can have it. You can buy it separately for what, 79 quid probably. No, and then they'll just break up it just to bring it up.
I bet you any money it hits closer to 100.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what's the point? You might as well just leave it in the actual PlayStation, because again, like I say, not a lot of people have room as well for it. What if they live in a small area, they have it just on top of their DVD player or whatever, and then you've got this detachable freaking disc drive and you've got to find somewhere to put that. It's they're just thinking of money now, and to be honest, wrong, Sony, wrong. They should not do that at all.
But will we see it though? It's all good them saying, right, we're going to make it smaller, we're going to save money, you can have a disk drive if you want or you don't want, but will it make the price cheaper? Because we've seen they've literally just put obviously outside of America, the price of the console has gone up in all of the territories, and they've made the console lighter. So it's costing them less to manufacture at the moment. It's costing them less to ship it because obviously it's lighter consoles, but they're charging more for it. Don't get me wrong, I like PlayStation. I love my PlayStation 5. It's ugly as sin, but I love my PlayStation 5. But I don't agree with them. They're making more money per console and charging more for it when really you think they were trying, in these times, especially in the times we're in, kick back to the consumer to try and save them a bit of money.
Well, that's
what,
it.
yeah.
That's it. They're trying to say, oh, we know what they're doing. They're trying to save money and they're saying, oh, it'll save money on shipping costs and on all that lot. But why are the prices still rising? They should be coming down. If it's going to be smaller, it should be coming down, not higher. And then it's going to get to a point where consumers like me, you, or whoever are going to go, well, why would I want to pay more for that when the bigger one is a lot cheaper? Do you know what I mean? I'll happily take the bigger one any day. I'll be like, no, do you know what? I'll just keep the bigger one. Don't worry about the smaller one. Don't care if it takes less space and less shipping. It's more expensive. Why would I want that? And plus, I know I'm going to get a disc drive in it as well. So it's like they're not thinking right now. They really aren't.
Yeah, you would. It's strange. It's like, say, both my consoles have disc drives. I don't put discs in them. It's kind of, everything's digital. So yeah, maybe for me, digital. Oh, brilliant! But I don't like the idea. I'm imagining. Remember the original Nintendo, where you've got to open. The console's fine, but then you've got to open the flap to put the big cartridge in. Yeah. That's what that's all I can picture. I just picture that's what's going to happen. You're just going to have to open this thing up and put in this disk drive. Hopefully it connects in properly and it's not a dodgy connection in the bottom. But no, I just think it's a waste. If you're going to revise the console and you're going to look at that option, just do away with the disk drive then. If that is the aim that you're going for and that's the direction you want to be, just go full digital. Just, the Series S has done it. There is a digital only version of the PS5. I hope the time we get to the next generation or back end of this one, that's all we're on anyway. We're fully digital, but that's me. I'm a physical digital snob, so that's me. Sentinel. Sorry, go on, Sarah.
No, I was just saying, like, that's the thing. Everyone is different, like you're digital. I like a physical copy. Yeah, I've got some digital stuff as well, but I do prefer a physical copy, But then I would be thinking, in theory, why would I want to buy a PlayStation, then have to do a separate hard disk drive to then pay? You're then pushing me to go digital. Which then I guarantee you they'll just rack up the price of the digital because they'll be like, well, they don't want to buy a physical copy. We'll rack up the price of the digital one instead. And that's where the money is coming in.
That's it. Sentinel, how about yourself? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think we're going to end up with a cheaper console or are we still going to have these high prices?
I kind of feel like PlayStation is being slightly antagonistic towards their customers with this. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because a lot of people right now, they can't get a PS5, right? The obvious choice would be to go with a PS4 Pro. But PlayStation knew that people were going to take that choice, so they took the choice away from them and canceled production altogether. They don't make PlayStation 4 Pros anymore.
No. And
with this article, it says that they're going to stop production next year, October or November, of the PlayStation 5 that they're currently making. Mm-hmm. It's like, so the game, it's like the system has been out 3 years, and you're going to completely stop production to force people to pick up this new type of PlayStation 5. It feels like a very underhanded move for them to do, because some people may not want, they may not want the new design, and the fact that it has a detachable hard drive, that's gonna be all sorts of problems. The reason why I say that is because it's either going to connect to USB or it's going to connect to the console itself, like click into place or something. There's going to be all sorts of connection issues because over time, you look at USB ports, HDMI ports, all of those wear out. So if you have something that clicks into place, eventually it's going to get to where you can't click that that device or whatever onto the PlayStation 5 because those connections are going to wear out. And you're going to have to send the entire console in to be serviced. And of course, I bought the original PS4. I had problems with the ejection button. It would eject discs while I was playing. And I had to send it in numerous times. So I can already see this being an issue because, for everything that PlayStation does right, their hardware is not one of them. They're always behind Xbox as far as this goes. So making it overly complicated just to force people to buy a new type of PS5, it feels like a very short-sighted and underhanded move by PlayStation. I don't agree with it, And also, I know Sarah had mentioned, people having choice, and I think that's a good that's preferable to just going all digital because let's say BMG, you walk down the street or you go to Walmart and you see a 4K Blu-ray on the shelf and you pick it up, but all you got is a PS5. You can't play the disc if you have an all-digital system.
True.
How many people have DVDs that they may not even make anymore, or they never got upgraded to Blu-ray, or they're not on a streaming service, and they just want to pop in a CD or a DVD or whatever in their system? You can do that now, but if it's all digital, that option is removed from you. What about backwards compatibility? You're talking, the PlayStation 5 plays PlayStation 4 games. Well, okay, what if my entire library is PlayStation 4 discs? If it's an all-digital PS5, the backwards compatibility is right out the window. Because then I have to buy all of those digital content, and I can't play the PS4 games anymore unless I buy them digitally. So it's the whole thing about them wanting to stop production of the current model of PS5. I mean, I get that because originally they had 3 different models of fans in the PS5, and it kind of felt like they didn't have all their ducks in a row when they designed the PS5. I think they need to worry less about having a detachable disk drive or a separate disk drive that plugs in, like how some of the disk drives will for laptops. You know, the laptops that can't have them, you plug it in by USB and it allows you to have a separate disk drive. I don't think they should go that route. I think they should do what they're doing right now, offer either an all-digital version or a version with the disk drive built in. Because at least if the disk drive is built in, all the internal connectors, you're not going to be, disconnecting it, reconnecting it over and over again. It's there, so the connectors internally aren't going to get the wear and tear that they normally would if you're constantly messing with it.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that. If they go ahead with what's with the documentation that's been seen, it is a all digital console, and then you can rather get a bundle with a disk drive, or you buy it separate at a later date. So I like what they do now. I like that they offer 2 SKUs. They did all digital one if you wanted all digital to save $50 to $100 or you have the one with the disk drive. So it's nice having them 2 options. Xbox have got them 2 options, but they're all digital versions. Not as powerful as the Series X, but it's still as damn good. I am looking at picking one up eventually to go downstairs because I keep my consoles up in the office. But it's interesting. I'm looking forward to what they're going to do. But again, they always just seem to be that little behind on the curve with the games and stuff. Amazing. It's very hard to find anything that touches the level of their developers. And I do think Sony have got some of the best studios and developers out of any. Not saying every single one of them are, I'm not saying that, but you'd find it very hard to have anyone on the level of likes of Santa Monica or Naughty Dog, in my opinion. Right.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right, though. With God of War Ragnarok coming out, we have a perfect example of a top-tier PlayStation game, a PlayStation franchise that's had really time to get into its best form. And I think that if the Xbox studios are looking for any game to point at and say, our game needs to be that great, it's God of War Ragnarok. They need to strive for that level of excellence where that many people are talking about it, where it gets those types of scores. It doesn't have to be a direct competitor. Like, you don't need Rise, Son of Rome Part 2 for people to say, oh, it's a direct competitor to God of War. It's not like that. It's that level of production, the storytelling that's there, the graphics, just how beautiful the game is, how well put together it is. That's the level they need to strive for, because PlayStation has pretty much set the bar. And they're behind as far as technology goes because their systems just aren't as well put together as Xbox. But Xbox is behind PlayStation as far as the level of AAA exclusive experiences. So if they're going to look at any game and say our game should be that great, the one they need to look to is God of War Ragnarok, and they need to say that's where our expectations need to be. That level of greatness.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Right, let's move on because I'm a bit conscious on time. So this is a bit of a quick one. The Witcher 3's delayed new gen update gets a December release date. This is from Tom Ivan over at VGC. CD Projekt Red has announced that the updated version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt will be released for new gen consoles and PC on December 14th, which is my wedding anniversary. So that's going to be like a present to myself. Having that. He said that the new gen update will feature dozens of visual performance and technical enhancements over the original, including ray tracing support, faster loading times on consoles, and a variety of mods integrated into the experience. Witcher 3's new gen release was originally scheduled to launch last year before being delayed to the second quarter of 2022. However, in April, CD Projekt Red delayed its release again and brought the development in-house to complete the project. The new gen release was previously being developed externally by Saber Interactive, which also handled the game's Nintendo Switch port. CD Projekt Red said at the time that it was evaluating the scope of the work to be done on the game and dismissed suggestions that the product was in development hell. Right. So, first of all, as Sarah, have you played The Witcher 3?
I bought it this year. I just not played it. It's in the pile of playing.
To play.
Yeah, it will probably be. I probably won't play it now until I move because I'm due to move at the end of the month. So I will probably then put it in the pile of to play. So yeah, I haven't played it yet. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Sentinel, have you played Witcher 3?
I have played Witcher 3. I played it for several hours. And I know I mentioned this before in a previous podcast, that even though I didn't feel it was for me and it just wasn't a game that I could really see myself coming back to, there's no denying the level of quality and craftsmanship, if you want to call it that really goes into The Witcher 3. You know, you can tell the developers really cared about this. They really put a lot of effort into it. And to see them giving fans of the Witcher 3 franchise additional content, you know, that's a great move, especially after the whole CDPR pushing Cyberpunk before it was ready, you know, that whole debacle. It's great to see that they're really continuing to put out content that fans love from their most beloved franchise. You know, it's a good move for them, and it's a really good move for the fans, because anytime you have fans that are such adamant followers of such a brand like Witcher 3, you know, it's great to see them continue to support that brand, especially with Witcher 4 right around the corner. That's a very smart move, you know, because it not only does it get people where they're motivated about the brand as a whole, but it also gets them to where they're forgetting some of the cyberpunk snafus that happened in the past, you know, because I don't think CDPR should be judged on all of the cyberpunk stuff, because that was the executives that made them push it out. You know, that wasn't their fault. I think they're talented, they're passionate, and I think The Witcher 3 is for them like Grand Theft Auto is for Rockstar Games. It's what they should be associated with, you know. So this new content is a great thing. Even though I probably won't play it myself, I'm happy for the fans of the Witcher franchise, because it's definitely great news for them.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to replay it. I didn't finish Witcher 3. I got right to the end, and then other stuff came out, and I thought I'll come back to it. I'll put it on the back burner, and never got round to it. And I picked up the Game of Year edition, so I've got all the expansions as well. So the fact that, you know, it's a free update, and you know, and I'm hoping we're going to be playing it in 4K 60. You know, I'm not really bothered about ray tracing. Ray tracing's not something I need. It doesn't really bother me. If the game looks good, runs smooth, I'm happy with that. But yeah, I think it's also brought a lot of people into the Witcher franchise with the TV show. Thanks to Henry Cavill, you know, because obviously he's a gamer. He's Henry Cavill, big gamer. You know, he loves Warcraft, he loves The Witcher. He's read the books, he plays the game. Witcher 3 is one of his favorite games. So I think it pulled a lot of people in. I could have seen, though, if they didn't have the issues with Cyberpunk like they did, I would have said this would have been a paid upgrade. I don't think we would have got it for free. But, you know, that's, we'll never know, because obviously they've announced it as free. But it is good, like I say, it is good for the fans. It's a brilliant, huge game. There's just so much to do. You could spend months upon months just like farming herbs and stuff to get poisons for your swords and things like that, you know. So it's something I'm definitely looking forward to. It's nice to have a release date for it. I've already reinstalled Witcher 3 Ready. I'm not going to touch it until the update lands, but I will be going back to it when I can fit it in around everything else. So we shall see. Right, what time? Right, moving on, because we'll get through do this topic, and then we'll get to the Game Awards. NC Soft has announced LLL, a Trailblazer MMO third-person shooter. This comes from Chris Scullion over at Video Games Chronicle. South Korean developer and publisher NC Soft has announced LLL. What a weird name for a game. A new title is referring to as a Trailblazer project. The game is an open-world MMO third-person shooter, which is coming to consoles and PC in 2024. LLL's project leader, Jae Yun Bae, sorry if I butchered that again, describes it as an alternate history science fiction project where an event in the past changes the world as we know it. The first gameplay footage was also revealed, which you can see if you go over to VGC. I recommend going watching it, because it is literally jaw-dropping. It was absolutely... I was mesmerized by it. It's absolutely brilliant. LLL features a 30 square kilometer open world where a post-apocalyptic Seoul, a 10th century Byzantine Empire. Again, my English pronouncing words is absolutely awful tonight. I do apologize. And the 23rd century coexist in one timeline. In an interview on NCSoft's own website, Bay calls the game a vast open world in which more than 30 kilometers of land area is seamlessly connected to a single environment. In a separate developer video discussing LLL, Bay says the game's storyline is based on 2 what-if questions. The first question is one that is commonly featured in other science fiction stories, he explains. If technology were to advance without limitations, what would I'll say that over again. If technology were to advance without limitation, would what it means to be human also change? The second question is, what if multiple groups at starkly different levels of technological advancement were to encounter each other? In LLL, humans, mutants, and powerful demons from different eras and different levels of technological progress meet on a single stage. What would happen in such a world? Does this sound like what some people are calling it, the Destiny Killer? Is it something you would play? Sarah, is it something you'd be interested in? And third-person MMO?
Definitely what I'm hearing. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be right up my street. I'm not even going to lie. I mean, I like my demons. I like all that kind of stuff. So, it definitely does sound like I could possibly play it. I mean, I think it would be one of those where I'd have to watch someone playing it first before I kind of make my judgment on it. Because I always find that when I like a game and then I go to play it, I've got such big hype for it, and then I go to play it and then I'm really disappointed in it. So I tend to come back a little bit and just go, oh, do you know what? I'm not sure in the game. I'll wait for the reviews. I'll wait for people to play it and then just kind of make my judgment from there. But I mean, it does sound like a game I would probably possibly play. I think, again, it's just to see what happens and go from there, really. I mean, I'm usually waiting for reviews, so that usually does it for me, really.
I'd highly recommend, like I say, there is actually some gameplay playing. If you actually go over to the website to have a look, it literally looks jaw-dropping. It's absolutely amazing. See you later, Muppet. Thanks for stopping by. No doubt I'll see you tomorrow on XBL. But I highly recommend watching it. It's really, honestly, my jaw dropped and I thought, this looks amazing. All these different things going on. It kind of looks a bit like a Anthem Destiny crossover with a bit of Warframe mixed in as well. It was like literally all 3 games sort of mixed in. It was nice. It looked really, really good. But obviously, it's only a slice of what the game's possibly going to be. A lot can change between now and 2024 if it comes out in 2024. How many games have we seen get a release date announced and it gets delayed? So it's going to be a wait and see, I think, with that one.
Definitely. I mean, like I say, it is a wait and see kind of game. I mean, there are so many games that I want to play, and I mean, especially this year with the new releases, obviously God of War, Ragnarok, and then obviously the new Plague Tale that came out. And I'm desperately trying not to watch anyone play that game because I want to play that myself with no spoilers, and it is very hard to do that when everyone is playing it at the moment. And it is one of those things where, I'm very on the fence about it. I would have to, like I said, I'll watch a snippet because obviously you can watch a snippet of it, but it could change through till the release. So you don't know. This is the problem. So yeah, we'll see what happens. That's all we can do.
That's it. Sentinel, is this something that would interest you? A third-person shoot MMO?
Yeah, I think it sounds really interesting. The premise is, I think they've tried to explore this premise in part in some movies, but only a little bit. the way they're really throwing this together as an MMO where there's this huge open world, all these different historical eras essentially. It does feel like it's like it could be borrowing inspiration from stuff like Resistance. You remember Resistance was all about the alien invasion of Earth or whatever. But I think that's kind of a genre or subgenre that's not really explored anywhere near as much as it could be. And this game could essentially open the door for that. Kind of the same way that Dead Rising really opened the door for a lot of these zombie games that we're seeing now. Now, this studio, obviously, that's behind this development studio, I guess they're attached to like Guild Wars 2 and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with them. I don't think I've played any of their games. And I'm not going to say that they're not capable of making a game on this scale. I mean, anybody is. I think if you make sure that you have, the vision and you have the people on board that know how to really create masterful open worlds. But I think there might be some growing pains with this game. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because a lot of times whenever you produce a game like this and you haven't really done one before, you're going to make mistakes. Everybody does. Even Rockstar Games has made mistakes before with some of their games. But as long as you learn from it, you update it, you continue to refine and improve the experience, I think a lot of people are going to be drawn to this because there's not really anything like this out there. And I mean, I know everyone wants to call big games like this, a Destiny killer, or if you remember, Killzone was the Halo killer, or Forza was the GT killer, or whatever. There's always people out there that are just trying to throw this stuff around for clickbait.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like it does a disservice to Destiny and to this game also, because there's not really another experience out there like Destiny, and I think people will be playing, Destiny 2, Destiny 3, as well as this game. Because they're completely different experiences. Destiny isn't about rewriting history. Destiny is about, in the future we're visited by the Traveler, and it's a different type of experience. And it's MMO, it's a shooter, but it's also not the same premise as what this LLL game is presenting. And I think both of those shooters will still have a lot of success on their own without trying to, be a Destiny killer or an LLL killer. I'll probably check it out. I think there's going to be a lot of people, especially content creators, once this releases, that are really going to jump on this because it's a completely new concept, And that, I think that, especially if some of the bigger content creators are really pushing it, that's going to help to draw a lot of people to it, because I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before. Some people can say, well, with the Wolfenstein reboot, we kind of saw a rewrite of history. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But, you're talking about the 40s, 50s, and 60s with the way they're describing this. I mean, you could have guys, from the 1800s, the 1900s. You could have, people from medieval Europe. You could have people from all over history fighting one another in a huge, sci-fi open world, which I think sounds crazy, and not crazy in a bad way, crazy in a good way. It sounds crazy. It sounds exciting. And if they do it right and they really stay on top of any issues they have, I think this is going to be tremendously successful.
Yeah. If like say if they can hit everything they've said they're going to do, what they're going to plan, it's very ambitious. What they're aiming for, the scope of this game is very ambitious. And when it comes to MMOs, vision and practicality doesn't always go hand in hand. So sometimes, you can see one thing, want to do that, and sometimes it just doesn't come to fruition. And Elder Scrolls Online, they seem to have managed it very well. But you do see the flaws as you're playing, where a lot of things are repetitive and it's the same speech from a lot of people. But it seems like a bit slower paced, if you will. It's not as action packed and fast moving as what this LLL looks like. So it'll be interesting to see. But they also, I've missed it off the article, they actually have an agreement with Sony as well, with PlayStation, to create a live service game. Not this game. This is something else they're working on. So I don't know the size of the studio, so I don't know how they're going to quite split this to work with Sony. Maybe it's more of helping develop what they're already doing than them taking on full development. So, but again, it's going to be them 2024 is looking good for gaming. If 2023 failed,
Sony might be looking at this. Sony might be looking at this kind of to see how well this does, and they might be bringing this studio on to help them, with a smaller role. But if LLL does really well, they may have them take the lead on this project later on in development.
Yeah. Like Google Pose comment here. Great to see you. Thank you for coming. The game looks good. It's drawing more from Warframe Division, it seems, than Destiny. That's good. That's a good shout. It's you can see just the mixture of all these like different games, like elements they've taken to put in this game, and it just looks epic. The bit of the show, which is gameplay, just looks absolutely epic, off the scale, off the wall. I just highly recommend anyone go and watching it. Right, we'll move on to our last topic because we are running very short of time. Game Awards. Jeff Keighley's Game Awards announced on Monday the Game of the Year nominees. We won't go through all the topics. We'll just do Game of the Year. Otherwise, we're going to be here for a good over hour, and I'm sure we've all got places to go and don't want to keep the chat forever. And Sarah, it's great that you give us so much time. Thank you. And Sentinel as well. Thank you. Right, so Game of the Year. Our nominees are A Plague Tale Requiem, made by Asbo Studio Focus Entertainment. Elden Ring, made by FromSoft and Bandai Namco. God of War Ragnarok, Santa Monica PlayStation. Horizon Forbidden West, Guerrilla Games PlayStation. Stray from Blue 12 Studio and Annapurna. And Xenoblade Chronicles 3 from Monolith Soft Nintendo. What do we think of the nominees, and who do we think's going to win? Sarah, I'll come to you first, being our guest and our final topic. What do you think? Who's going to win?
There are some freaking good games right there. I mean, you've probably got one of the best few games. You could probably pick the best games there, to be honest. I mean, like you said, you've got Plague Tale, you've got God of War, you've got Stray as well, because Stray was quite popular when that came out. Elden Ring as well. I watched a lot of content on Elden Ring, and you could see the different characters that you could come up with them, and, it is amazing of those games. I mean, I think, to be honest, my top two would probably be A Plague Tale and God of War, because out of everything that I've heard, they were the top two that a lot of people were talking about at the time. Stray, yes, probably maybe come in the third part personally. But yeah, there are some that it's such a hard choice out of those lot, and I would love either Plague Tale or God of War to actually win it, probably, because they're the top two games I like.
But if you had to pick one, only one can win Game of the Year. Only one. Only one.
Okay, so if I had to pick right now, only because I've watched some content on it, would be God of War, because I've not watched any content on A Plague Tale at the moment, because obviously I'm trying not to watch it. So yeah, I'd go God of War at the moment. If I said to you I'd watch some of Plague Tale, I would probably be like saying Plague Tale. So yeah, we'll go God of War right now. We'll go God of War.
Okay, but a question for you, and it's about, well, hang on, we'll go Sentinel first. How do you feel about that list, and who do you think is going to win Game of the Year?
I mean, it's a stellar list. I know some people are kind of pissed that Stray is on that list, of which, they're like, well, there's too many PlayStation games on there, and I'm like, yeah, but PlayStation put out a lot of games this year, so I completely get it. As far as the list goes, I think it's pretty high quality. Next year it'll probably be different. A little different, probably a little more stacked in Xbox's favor, because allegedly they have more games coming out. My personal pick would be Elden Ring, obviously, but I honestly would not be surprised at all if God of War Ragnarok wins, just because it's a top tier game, and if God of War Ragnarok does not win, it's going to be an extremely close where Elden Ring wins.
Yeah, definitely be interesting. Yeah, it's God of War for me. I'm absolutely love that game. He just connects with me on every level, and it's just amazing. And I just want to play it. That to me, that's a Game of the Year when all I want to do is pick it up and play it, and I want to be in that world and experience the characters and the world and the environment. To me, that's a game of the year. So even though we've got that list there, I'll come to you first, Sarah. What makes a game of the year for you? What is it that you look in a game which would be game of the year?
I mean,
don't have to be on that list.
Yeah. What draws me to any game is how they've done it, the storyline. You know, like for example, A Plague's Tale. I watched a lot of people play it to start off with before I even decided to play it. But it drew me to it because it was something different. Like it just wasn't like a normal game. It was like, well, hang on a minute. They've completely gone out with saying rats are the killers here, rah 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 this, you know. And it really like it was like boom. Oh my god, this is a really good game. Like this has really drawn me in. You know, it's got to be a game that hooks me straight away like that. You know, because like I can easily get bored. Everyone can easily get bored with a game. You know, you can play it for 10 minutes to an hour and you're like, I'm not getting anywhere with this. Like, you know, it's not, there's nothing there. You know, like where with Plague's Tale, it gripped me from the moment it started, you know, because it was about a kid and it was about two kids. And it just drew you into the ties of what was going on. Why was this happening? What was wrong with Hugo and stuff like that, you know? So, you know, that's what it's got to have a gripping storyline, and it's just got to grip you straight away. You know, just from just seeing it, and you're like, yeah, boom, that's it, that's my game. You know, that's how I can say. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
no, that's fair enough. Same question to you, Sentinel. What makes a game of the year for you? What is it that draws you to a game that you would say that is game of the year for me?
I think if a game, if a game really helps to push the medium forward, and I don't mean it needs to be, you know, like it doesn't have to be more of a narrative journey than action. I mean, you got to balance those because it's a video game, obviously. But you know, you look at God of War, Ragnarok, and it does a lot for gaming, and it really shows everyone what a top tier game should be like. But I think you also have games like Elden Ring that so many people that normally wouldn't try out those types of games have come to Elden Ring and really tried it and played it because of how it doesn't hold your hand and how it kind of expects you to figure a lot of stuff out on your own. You know, I think a game has to really have that sort of weight to it. You know, now I had this discussion previously with other people about Call of Duty and Forza, why like those types of games just never would win Game of the Year. And it's more because they're just not as impactful as games like Red Dead Redemption or God of War or The Last of Us Part 2. You know, they're just not as impactful as those types of games. So it has to tell a story, but it also has to really change what you expect from games going forward, you know. And I think both God of War, Ragnarok, and Elden Ring really do that this year. So it'll be hard, you know. But other games like Stray, it's a cute little game about cats, but to be honest, it just doesn't really change the way people look at video games, so to speak. It doesn't help to further the entire gaming world, you know. So it's kind of, it's a nice game. I think it deserves awards and stuff for what it does, but I don't think it's game of the year worthy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'm always it's got to have that connection. I've got to have that feeling where it connects to me on an emotional level, and it just makes me want to play it more and more. And like I say, God of War Ragnarok is my game of the year. Even if it wasn't nominated or anything like that, it's my game of the year because from playing all the God of Wars and then playing the reboot in 2018 to now, and everything that happened then and what's happening in this story, and you can feel the connection from the other game. You can see the pain, the hurt, the rage, and all this. It just all has an effect, and I can connect, like the whole father-son dynamic I connect to as well, which is it's an experience. And if anyone has played the first game and obviously haven't played the second one yet, I highly recommend going on YouTube and watching Raising Kratos. Is the behind the scenes thing they've done, how they made the game and how they got where they were, how things they did with different characters. Christopher Judge, there's a particular scene, I won't spoil the game, that he does, and he actually, while he was acting that scene out in the CGI, the suits that they wear to do the scene, he was actually crying because like the words he used was, it was an apology to his son. And it's like hard to understand what you mean by that, but when you play the game, you understand that he's connected to it more than just what's going on in the game, and it's had that effect on him, and that's amazing. And I wish more and more games could bring that same sort of feeling into it. It's really good. Right, well, on that, because obviously we've gone over 2 hours now, so we will wrap up. So thank you everybody for coming. Really enjoyed tonight. Thank you for all turning up for episode 2. Sarah, I will come to you first. Where can we find you?
So you can find me on Twitch. Obviously, I do stream on Twitch. But you can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you just look for Sarah's Crazy World, you cannot miss me. I am loud as anything. You cannot miss me. So, yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, definitely check out her content. Give her a follow. Check her out on Twitch. Pop in, say hello. She does some amazing stuff. I pop in here and there and always smiles. Sometimes dancing. It's... seen some crazy things pop up and clips and stuff, so highly recommend checking it out. But no, thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. It's great to get you on, and we'll definitely have you on again soon. Sentinel, where can we find you, sir?
Well, I'm in addition to being on this podcast and the Stasis Chat podcast on YouTube, I also have a YouTube channel, Sentinel 17 Gaming. I usually post content every month or so. Again, it's been like probably 6 weeks since I posted my last one. It's been a busy, real life obligations, obviously. It's been kind of busy, but I do try to, whenever I'm running on a normal schedule, I try to upload videos at least twice a month. I'm also on Twitch and Twitter, S3NT1N3L17. It's Sentinel17, alphanumeric. You can check me out on Twitch. I usually live stream every night, and on Twitter, I tweet a lot more than I probably should, so you can check me out on there as well.
Always cool stuff. Yeah, again, go over, follow Sentinel, check out his YouTube, follow him on Twitter, send him a message, say hello. So that's it. Again, I'm BMG. You can find me over here. You can find me on Stasis Chat. I'll be back on tomorrow night on the XBL Party Podcast, as we have now moved the show to Thursdays every week from 8 p.m. GMT. Again, just before I log off, we are on our march to 1,000 subscribers. As I announced at the beginning of the show, we are going to be giving away a copy of God of War Ragnarok. And if you want to be in a chance to win that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Once we hit that 1,000 subscribers, we will be having a big giveaway. There'll be multiple games. There'll be all sorts going on. As we get closer to that, we'll announce more in how we're going to do it, what we're going to do, and hopefully you can all join us there. But that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us on PSN Party Podcast, and good night, everyone.